the play for Democrats and for the Biden campaign. I mean, I thought the, family picture with the Kennedys was pretty funny and powerful. I still don't understand. I'm wondering if you have any insight into what RFK thinks he's doing, or does he know what he's doing, and is that what he wants to do? But back to what the Biden campaign should be doing.
Well, I don't want to be in RFK Jr.'s brain, where he doesn't believe in science and all sorts of other things. Right. But I will say, Mika, I was nodding along as Tom was just talking. I think this is the biggest challenge. There is unquestionably, Trump has a broad support in his base, as we've just been discussing, and we've seen that play out in the primary. That's the only piece, though, we know at this point. He has problems among independents and problems with an expanded electorate. But these third-party candidates are a huge, huge, huge problem, and there's a number of them. If you look at RFK Jr., it's the name recognition issue, as Tom was just talking about. And there are still states in this country, obviously, I mean, Georgia is one of them, I will name, where the Kennedy name is beloved, right? Where people may just not where they may just not know a lot about the fact that he is an anti-vaxxer who's a conspiracy theorist. They don't know that yet. So this is something, there is an aggressive effort that the campaign has been working with the Democratic National Committee on to run on this. But it needs to be broad. People need to be shouting it from the rooftops, because this is one of the biggest threats to Joe Biden being reelected, is these third-party candidates.
What's going on, everyone? Sasha Kinney here today, and I'll give my analysis about Democrats apparently freaking out over the risk of JFK and Biden's reelection bid. As you know, Thursday, of the time of making this video, the border got ransacked by a bunch of illegals trying to come into the country. And I'll give you more clips about that. But first, I want to highlight the danger that the Kennedys pose to the Democratic Party. Now, if you guys remember, I did a video months ago. I called before Kennedy ran as an independent. I called that Kennedy is more a threat to Joe Biden than he is to Trump, because as you saw from the primaries, Trump base wasn't moving. All right. Even when it was just him and Nikki Haley, all the votes that Nikki Haley got, you could make a claim that a large percentage of them were Democratic Biden voters. So with Kennedy, right, because at the end of the day, the Democrats party kind of shielded Biden from any opposition. I mean, Kennedy still don't have any Secret Service detail, right? Why is that? Because the Biden administration and the Democratic Party do not want Kennedy to run, but Kennedy's staying in the race. Kennedy is allegedly going to announce his VP pick soon, which is next Tuesday, which will be, I believe, March 26th, if I remember correctly. And they're really dangerous they're really scared of this man. Right. And it also speaks to this idea that it seems like the two-party system is scared of a third kind of party forming. And I believe at this rate, it's more of a risk to Americans than a benefit, because if a third party is created right now, is most likely going to be either centrist or right-leaning, which is going to take from what? The Republican Party, not the Democratic Party. Democrats are like so collectivist. They vote in lockstep, and I believe their voters will do the same. All you have to do is look at the primaries. Polls showing that nobody wanted Trump or Biden. Based on that poll, Republicans held a primary. Did the DNC hold a primary? Nope. At least not officially. They didn't recognize none of the other candidates that was running against Biden. Donald Trump at least won his primary. At least the Republican Party had a primary, because they looked at the polls, they looked at the statistics, they looked at the data, and they said, hey, our voters want a new candidate. Let's try it. And then what did the DNC do? What did Democrats do? Legally prosecute Trump and sucked all the attention from the other candidates. Because at the end of the day, Americans should not be rewarding such backhanded tactics. If you're going to beat Trump, you better beat him head on, face up. And we're going to get into that too in this video. But first, I want to talk about the border issue.
You might think, that Hispanic voters might be the types of folks who would have a backlash against Donald Trump's remarks, right? Ain't the case. If you ask Hispanic voters, who do they trust more on border security and immigration? Overwhelmingly, they trust Donald Trump more by a tremendous margin. Look at that, 49% to 24%. And that is in line with what we're seeing in the polls in general amongst Hispanics, right? Joe Biden won them overwhelmingly back in 2021 and by over 20 percentage points. Democrats normally carry them overwhelmingly. If you look at the polling right now and an average of polling amongst Hispanic voters, who do they choose in the ballot test? It's barely Biden by about 2 points. It would be the smallest margin for any Democratic candidate among Hispanic voters. basically throughout history since we started polling the gosh darn thing. So the fact is, at this point, there's no backlash, and at this point, I don't see one coming.
Yeah, we don't see a backlash coming, but we do see one coming for Joe Biden. And Democrats are already trying to run cover for Joe Biden, talking about, oh, Republicans are going to use this, even though Republicans did nothing. Republicans didn't want to process, because you see how they're running. The Democratic solution is let's process these migrants that's rushing our military to go through our border. Let's process them no more and file a court order and have them assess their asylum processing. That's what they want to focus on, processing those large amount of military-aged men brushing through the border violently, by the way. Like, come on. It's like the argument I always use is your front door. If someone try to barge into your door like that, would you want to accept them? Would you want to hear anything they have to say? No, you would turn them away and say, oh, hell no, get out of my house. This is how we should treat our border. But that's not the case, because like they say, liberals can only be liberals from afar. If this was happening personally to them, if a group of men were trying to get into their house, no, you wouldn't tolerate them staying in your house if they got in through force. And that's what illegal immigration represents. And why would you reward someone who forced their way into our house, into our borders, and spend money to increase processing them? No, this should be automatic. Nah, you out. And that's the solution that Republicans want. Remain in Mexico. Hey, wait your turn over there. Wait until I invite you into my house. You call me. Hey, I want to come over your house. Sure, you may, but you're allowed to come in. Not you just show up and you just trying to barge into my house. Like, what? That's how we should treat our border. But it seems that there's no love for America on the left anymore. Biden slammed after hundreds of illegal aliens attacked National Guard troops in Texas. And this is Biden's fault, because he reversed all the policies that Trump did that was working. Trump had less foot traffic going across the border than Biden. What that shows you, that Biden's policies has an incentive problem. It is incentivizing people to go over the border. And this is why Hispanics, and this is why actually many Americans trust Trump with the border over a Democrat over the border. So why the hell, Democrats, liberals, do you think that you got a valid, no, do it the Republican way, because the Republicans showed that they had a better result on the border. Like, these are the same people that say, oh, we trust the science. Well, the results are in. We want to disincentivize people from doing what they just did to the National Guard, the Texas National Guard. Right? We don't want to incentivize this. We want to create an environment where these illegals know if they do this, oh, we have no shot at asylum. With Trump's remain in Mexico policy, these people, by the fact that they're there, will automatically eliminate their asylum claim. We should not be giving people who come through our border like this any legitimacy. This is the problem I have with the left. This is why I have a problem with a lot of the people that's trying to defend Joe Biden on this issue. Imagine trying to gain control over that. Those seem like people who respectful people? No. Why would you want them in your country? They don't even respect your boundaries. Hey, do not cross this line. And they cross it anyway. And it's baffling to me. And that's not the only risk to Joe Biden either. Joe Biden has been on this progressive, clean energy tirade as well. Voters in key swing states oppose restrictions on natural gas and favors Trump's over Biden on energy policies, polls show. The majority of voters in Pennsylvania oppose restrictions on natural gas production, while pluralities say that they trust former President Donald Trump more than Joe Biden on the issues of affordable energy. And this is true. Gas energy is more affordable than electric energy. Electric energy, even though for 50 years governments have been pushing electric energy, electric cars down our throats, the most cost-effective energy source is natural gas, period. The second to that is nuclear energy. If you want to say which option between electric, solar, wind, nuclear has the best chance of replacing natural gas, it's nuclear energy. But does the green energy people like that? No, they don't. And this is what I'm talking about when the left use the science. The science, the facts are in. Solar, wind, and electric are not cost effective enough to manage the infrastructure of a nation. Gas powers 80% of the energy around the world. Solar, wind, and electric combined only powers 5% of the world's energy grid. But you want us to rely on that? No wonder California has rolling blackouts. Results speak louder than narrative. And I think that's what voters need to get back to. Now, the last kind of risk that I want to highlight as well is the abuse by the Democratic establishment. Biden campaign reports $21 million haul in February, expanding financial edge over Trump camp. Even with all the money that Biden has, I think with commentators like me and many people getting their news mostly from social media, I think these ad campaigns are not as I mean, they're still effective, but on social media, people can comment on them at real time and people can get a more sense of what the hell's going on. But this is one of the main reasons I believe that they're going after Trump legally. And here's Vivek highlighting how this might be violating the 8th Amendment. Let's take a look.
Best he can, but this proves that this isn't just about Donald Trump. It is about every American, because if they can do this to the 45th president of the United States, somebody who's running and I believe successfully will be the 47th president of the United States, then they can do it to anybody in the United States. And that 8th Amendment was written for a reason. Historically, it's come up in the context of debates about the death penalty. But the reality is most of that 8th Amendment relates to cases involving excessive bail, excessive fines, the $454 million ruling here in this case by a politicized Letitia James in a case where not a single victim was harmed. Every alleged victim made money from doing interactions with Donald Trump. And even people who weren't just ordinary consumers but sophisticated financial institutions. For that to be the bail in this kind of case is ridiculous, is offensive to our founding fathers, and our founding fathers would agree, as I think the Supreme Court would today. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, even if she were on the court, still would agree with it as well.
Yeah.
This is exactly the case for which the 8th Amendment was met.
I mean,
and
John,
you should use that argument.
Exactly. And this is something that many people were pointing out. Like, hey, like there's victimless crimes, that no one was a victim of fraud. Why is the bail or why is the bond so high? Why is it almost $500 million? This is unprecedented. This has never happened before. Kevin O'Leary said that on CNN. And it's baffling to me that Democrats think, I don't know how someone who is not just merely parroting tribe, right? Who's merely only a partisan can believe that what's going on with Trump, there's no legitimacy of it being seen as a politicized attack against Trump, when it just so happens it benefits Democrats, right? Re-election campaign funds, 21 received in February, and he has expanding his lead over Trump's campaign and Republican National Committee by more than $50 million. According to Federal Elections Commissions, the Biden campaign ended February with $71 million in cash, which combined with the National Democratic Committee put the president's chest at $97.5 billion, according to Politico. Biden now boasts of campaign funds more than doubling than the combined money of Trump and the RNC, which has $44 million in hand. Right, and then some of Biden's biggest donors in the 2024 cycles is tech firms, of course, labor unions. Don't know why they're still doing it, but hey, whatever. Leftist super PACs, which is funded by George Soros, by the way. And many of this, I don't think I need to really touch Trump, because what we want to focus on is faced with civil and criminal cases on multiple fronts. Trump's fundraising haul for his 2024 campaign is falling short of the numbers he posted in 2020. And millions of dollars have been spent by Trump sponsoring PACs to help cover his legal fees. This is the point. And I know people covered it before, but it's meant to, I want to really highlight this point of that about the strategy in this, right? They will stoop to, like, this is how when conservatives start talking about how Democrats participate in election interference, this is what they're talking about. They do things that helps them, and then later on they'll admit, oh no, we were at fault here. The former president and his organization has now faced this, which is I just mentioned before. And in this does not sound like election interference? Come on. If you're being honest, if you live in reality, you can see how this can be perceived as election interference. I got another bomb to drop on you guys. CNN now admits that Mar-a-Lago is worth hundreds of millions and not 18 million, which he went to court for and which he got tried the $464 million. Let's take a quick look.
to get any of these properties sold. But the property that you alluded to, Mar-a-Lago, potentially that could be something that could be sold quickly. I think the valuation is something in the hundreds of millions, and I think there could be a buyer for something like that.
So an expert on CNN, who's a CEO of luxury real estate, and the judge in New York said, no, your property's worth $18 million. And here she's saying it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I feel like the federal government needs to be held accountable when they make calls like this. Like you don't bring an expert. That's not an expert opinion. You're a judge in some New York federal court. You don't know anything about business. And here you are trying somebody because you think he overvalued his property. This is unreal. This is unreal, guys.
And that would be literally, if you're talking about doing that between now and Monday, that's picking up the phone, calling someone, and them literally writing a check.
Yeah, I mean, there could be plenty of international people who want to buy that property. I mean, there's properties that are priced at 150 and 200 million that are nearby that. And Palm Beach is like the NVIDIA, excuse me.
Yeah, I'm from Florida, bro. Like you not selling no house. I mean, you could, depending on the square, but Trump's estate in Mar-a-Lago has way more acreage than any other the properties around it, and they sell minimum 47 mil. And you come out here, federal judge from New York, 18 mil, bruh. How isn't that? I don't understand how no one can see this as political, bro. No one. And this is the political risk that Biden has. For my final point, and I'll end off this video. Elon Musk laid out his personal beliefs, asking if his position is centrist, right? And I'm not going to really go into the article. I just want to go into what Elon was putting. Elon, this is a battle to the death with anti-civilization woke mind virus. My positions are centrist. Secure the borders. Safe and clean cities. Don't bankrupt America with spending. Racism against any race is wrong. No sterilization below the age of consent. Is this right wing? It is now. Because remember, we talked about it all the time. It's not the right becoming more far right. It's the left becoming more far left and then perceiving everyone as right. Remember, journalist is the most left-wing profession in America. So that means when these when these libs go more left, their perception and how they report things, this is why when they label people far right, really they're talking about anyone in the center and to the right of the center is far right. That's what they mean by that. And this is why I think this is another risk to Biden's reelection campaign, because he's listening to a bunch of media journalists who categorize everything right of them as right wing. They're a progressive, labeling a liberal right wing. I just had this in one of my comment section on my Destiny video. Someone in the comment section say, Destiny isn't a liberal. Destiny is a right wing. I'm like, are you smoking something? Do you not see the debate between Destiny and Ben Shapiro? And you're saying Destiny is right wing? Oh, now, if that's not proof that the left has become more extreme, more radical in 2024, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. I don't know what is. Rasmussen also replied to that comment, says, luckily, most Americans still do too. 74% said freedom of speech is most important. Who's pro-censorship? The far left. Because like a socialist, communist, Marxist, they can't have other ideas flourish in the same, they can't compete on equal footing with other ideologies. Because that's how backwards their ideology is. Progressivism is regressivism. Progressives want black-only spaces. I thought that was segregation. Progressives call it progress. Imagine that. That's another threat to Biden's re-election claims as well. He's running more as a progressive candidate than he should in this election. At least in my view, anyway. But let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section. What do you think are also other possible risks of Biden's re-election? Do you have some worries about RFK running as a third-party candidate? Who you think it affects more, the left or the right? I already gave my arguments. I would like to hear yours in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.